Hey guys, this is my review of Capitalist Realism by Mark Fisher, which is a 2009 book, which I did not read. I listened to it as an audiobook because we're living in a post-literate society, which is a reference to the book. The book talks about a lot of things that I'm gonna get into just now and give my thoughts on because I'm that smart. This was my introduction to leftist, like kind of Marxist cultural theory. Um, I have watched YouTube videos before. I am familiar with like Karl Marx, Slavoj Zizek, but this was my introduction to its literary form. Um, this book is one of the key works in the topic. They say it's a must read, so I listened to it. I didn't read it. I don't read. Okay, I have not read since the Diary of Wimpy Kid. Okay, I have not read since I learned to read. I can read. I think. Oops. I think I can read. I'm not sure because I haven't checked in a while. But but I don't I don't like reading. So maybe because I have not read it, like I'm sorry, like maybe some parts of it went over my head, but it wasn't the way the book was flowing through ideas. I feel like it was a bit all over the place. But let's start with the beginning. Let's start with what capitalist realism even means. So this term refers to how we see capitalism as this as the only viable economic form. You know, like this unquestionable, uncriticizable thing. And the book goes into this constant like relativism that we like to do with like yeah, sure, capitalism sucks. It sucks to live in capitalism, but it's not as bad as this and that. You know, it's not as bad as the Soviet Union was. And Fisher argues that this kind of like uh, relativism and like conformity, and not even like conformity, but like this idea that there is no alternative is what is holding us back from progress. The book opens with a quote by maybe it's Zizek. I'm not sure who it's from originally. Anyways, I'm not gonna look it up, but it sums up the whole idea. So this is the quote: "It's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism." So in one sentence, this is what he means by capitalist realism. He also, this is what I wrote. I have my notes. He mentions a lot of like films and like even like music. I think he mentioned Kurt Cobain at one point. I didn't get that part. I'm gonna be honest. Um, like sometimes I feel like he just wanted to talk about like movies, but it kept the whole audiobook entertaining. I mean, book. Uh, I listened to it as an audiobook. That's on me. I'm sorry. I'm low IQ, post-literate, illiterate. He mentions Wall-E, the Pixar film, um, which is set in the future where humans are off in a spaceship and they're all fat, and you know the film, everyone's seen Wall-E, and the planet is destroyed, you know, and this is kind of like, it feels like a criticism of capitalism, so you might think it's like a good thing, but in practice, like things like this kind of rebellion against capitalism just feeds into capitalism, and it makes us conform with capitalism because capitalism incorporates its own critiques, and because of this we feel like everything is fine. You know, you watch Wall-E and you see that uh, oh, the movie thinks that capitalism is gonna lead to the end of the world, which once again is the end of the world before the end of capitalism, and the capitalism directly leads to the end of the world, but there's no like still no like socialist reforms, you know. So I feel like it's kind of propaganda because it feeds into capitalist realism. You know, it feeds into the idea that there is no alternative, and it also sells you this feeling of, we all know that things aren't going great. You know, everyone knows that things are going to shit, but but we're saying it. We're saying we know it. So when a consumer sees this, it it makes them feel okay with keeping on consuming. We all know that things are going downhill and things are going to shit. If we keep on going, humanity is gonna destroy the planet and go off to space. This is what the film is saying. But the reason no one thinks about bringing political change is because we see capitalism as the only viable economic system. So anyways, there's actually a lot of other examples of capitalism incorporating rebellion, like rebellion turning into an aesthetic, like in punk, the whole punk thing. I always found it weird when people buy punk clothes, because on one hand you are consuming and on the other hand you are conforming. So, and when like a rebellious band is selling merch, and I buy it to show that I'm rebellious, and I consume it to show that I'm rebellious. There's a lot of layers to this. But yeah, we could also say like Fight Club or like Hoppers is the new Pixar film. The book also talks about like responsibility and like responsibility. It's interesting. It's an interesting topic, in capitalism, because we see poor people and we don't think. The first thing we think is that they should go and work. Like, why are you poor, because capitalism puts the responsibility on the individual, and we never question it. We never look at it systemically, because the system is the only working system. Capitalism, the only working system. And if someone is poor and doesn't have their basic needs met, it's on them, like. And that's the reason, instead of bringing political change, people are just people just resort to blaming others. And he makes this point for mental health as well. Like, we always look at mental health as the problem of the individual. Since capitalism is just the way things have to be, we never question it, and we never talk about mental health on a large scale, although capitalism does affect everyone's mental health. And Mark yeah, Mark Mark Fisher says that mental health should be looked at as a political question. He also talks about being a teacher. I did not really care for it. Like, I get what he was saying. I think how it's always just like everyone's image that matters. He called it like market Stalinism or whatever. Yeah, I didn't like. He was just whining about being a teacher, and oh, it's so hard being a teacher, and so hard. He talks a bit about how we're kind of living in a post-culture world, and no, new. I don't know if he attributes it to capitalism. Probably there aren't really like new cultural movements. Instead, we are just like recycling old aesthetics. Like, everything new and old gets it's mass produced, either for nostalgia or. And this was written in 2009. Like, that's crazy. Like, this was before all the remakes. This was before Stranger Things. I just realized I haven't said much of my thoughts. I guess I don't really have thoughts, because this is like hard to disagree with, these aren't really hot takes. Like, I feel like it's a good analysis. But I like this book and I like how it ends. Basically, like the whole point, the whole message of the book is we need to stop thinking like there's no life after capitalism, which is basically that's just Marxism, right? Like that capitalism is just like a phase. My takeaway is that we can bring political change. We should stop thinking like it is what it is, because it doesn't have to be like it is. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I did like the end. It does phrase this whole thought better than I did just now. Like if I do have to like give thoughts, the book really wasn't structured that well. I didn't like the chapter where he talked about being a teacher and how the capitalist mindset is in play uh, in universities or whatever like that. I feel like there could have been better examples. I know that the guy was a teacher and he could have gone into like why we see capitalism like it's irreplaceable. I guess like the Cold War or some shit like that. I don't know. I don't like who am I, bro? Who do you think I am? But yeah, I guess that was my thoughts. I don't know. I'm giving this 8 stars